show me some love, subscribe, hit the bell, and share. Our topic today, Boaz has found you. Now, what should your response be? We're going to go to Psalms 119 and 133. Direct my steps by your word, and let no iniquity have dominion over me. Let's get these steps directed on today on what we're going to do. Remember, we've been working with Isaac and Rebecca. Because what's the problem? Maybe, ladies, you're saying, I keep picking Mr. Wrong. Or you're single and you're saying, you know what, this dating life, even the search, it's just stressful. I even found some research on that. There's the Chicago News, and they have studies where it shows, I want to say, okay, I don't want to mispronounce the scientific name. Let's just say that there's this hormone that we produce, okay? Because that's true. It's a hormone that we produce when we are experiencing stress. But in their testing, they found that people who were in committed relationships, those who were married, were found those levels were lower even when they were put in stressful situations. So that's the problem we're going to talk about getting rid of. All right, when your Boaz come, you've got to respond correctly so we can stop hooking up with Mr. Wrong. And let me check that. We don't hook up with no one, ladies. Committing to making committed relationships with Mr. Wrong. We're going to alleviate some of the stress in our lives. Even Ecclesiastes says, let's go to 4, verses 9 through 12. 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one what? Will lift up their fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falls. How many commercials they making money off of that? Because the old person was alone. They said, I've fallen and I can't get up. We weren't meant to be alone. We need to be partnered up. Relationships are so great. And some of you say, well, I believe that my ministry is being single. And I get that. But you still should have some meaningful relationships in your life so that even if you fall, you have that friend you can call. Come on. And some of us are so disconnected from our own family members, we couldn't even call a family. We got to work on these relationships. We were meant to be partnered up. Okay? So even the ant understands this. It says that in the case of the ants, one will observe that they operate together. Often when you encounter seemingly single ants, if you see one, you better look around. See, it's that season. Everything outside right now is dry. I saw one on the outside of my pantry. I didn't even have to look twice. I knew. They done partnered up. Somebody else is off in this pantry too. Opened it up, and guess what was right there by my sugar? Ants. So let's learn from the ant. Let's get partnered up. 2 is better than 1. All right, ladies, I just need to talk for a little bit. We're going back. Remember, the servant has been sent from Isaac, from Abraham for Isaac to get to look for a wife. I told you how they met. He's at the wells. He found her working. He was checking her attitude. He was trying to see, he made sure that she qualified. He asked her who was her family line, right? Because he went with instructions. But she had a response. And I'm only going to hit 3. I believe that's enough to focus on. The first one, what I loved about his response first to finding her at the well, working, getting the water, what? And being willing to do more with the camels and water the camel. Then he rewards her whole response with what? Not that she was looking for it, but that's just how things work. You do great work, you're gonna reap a reward. The servant starts pulling out gold bracelets. There were some rings for her nose. Come on now. My brain starts saying ding, 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 ding. The story didn't end there. She left there and went to her family and began to tell them all that the servant had said, because he was specific in telling her, I was sent here. Why he was there? Looking for the family of his master, right? She tells him all about it. Her brother, Laban, then after he hears what she says and what the man wants to do, he then leaves to go check her story out. He's like, let me see if this servant is for real. Then he says he sees the gold and the silver. I don't know about y'all. That reminds me of my daddy when he used to do, what he come here with? Did somebody drop him out? Does he even have a job? Who are his people? Those are the things my parents used to just automatically ask first, because when you raised in the country, they want to make sure, you weren't marrying your first cousin, your second cousin. And then sometimes I believe there were some family secrets and, anyway, so they don't want you to cross over. But in this case, they made sure they stayed in the same lineage. Why? It was so important, because they knew what God they served, okay? And it was okay during that time. So you have the brother. First of all, let's say her response. She didn't stop and just say, oh, I have found this wonderful proposition. She leaves there, tells him all that's in her father's house. There's room. We have place to put down your camel. There's room for you. Come to my father's house. Then she tells her brother all about this man and what he said. Then he has a meeting with her family. But do you remember what else he was told? She had to follow him. I thought there's some good things here. We're going to go back. I don't want to miss anything. Let me go back. So what's number one? He comes calling with what? Silver and gold. What does that prove to us? That he's already prepared and set up and ready to take on a wife. That servant is an extension and a representative of the master. She ain't going to nothing. He has something that he's bringing and he's offering to her. Nowadays, you always hear this meeting of, what do you bring to the table? That servant never went talking about, what do you bring to the table? He was not expecting that of her. What he was looking for was for her to have lived a chaste life. That when she come into a union with his master, that she would be a blessing to him, know how to run his home and know how to treat the people. Right? Because even her response to him, her attitude was important. And could she handle the things of her father's house already? That's what she was going to bring to the table. Her training. Finances should already be set up with the mister. So ladies, that's a first of all, that's a good sign. You may love him, but if he's not ready, give him time. Tell him to go back to his knees. Get back with God. He created you to be able to provide. If you have not walked into that yet, it's because you have not spent time at his feet. Yep, tell him I said it. I won't take it back. I will stand on that one. Okay? All right, number two. She goes home and she seeks the wisdom of her family. And now then her family what? She asked them about it, but she gave them time for them to go do some research. If after y'all meet, he only has bad things to say about your family, or you start seeing as you're dating, he's pulling you away from your family, he's always got something negative to say, don't, ding, 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 ding. Those are alert signs. You need to check that. Listen to your family. When your daddy tells you, I will never forget. So dating this young man, and my daddy kept telling me, he said, something ain't right there. Baby girl, I'm trying to tell you, my daddy's famous words, he on dope. Everybody that sweat was on dope, so I didn't know whether or not, I ain't gonna lie, I was just like, that there he go again, talking about somebody that's sweating hard is on dope. He used to always say it when Elvis Presley would come on the TV, but we all know, yeah, he was on dope, right? So anyway, come to find out later, yeah, he was using. And my dad kept saying, this boy, he don't keep a job, Joy. He's just not the one. We have to listen. And I'm gonna tell you this, ladies, if your father's not in your life, check out my girl, Kayla Williams. She's younger, but she talks about fatherlessness, or Marquita Johnson. Check them out. They really deal with fatherlessness. However, I will tell you this, if your father's not in your life, if there is a brother in your life, if there is a male role model in your life or a friend, get a man to check a man out. One thing I can tell you about my brothers, they have given me some of the best advice. They pick up on things I didn't even think to look for. A man knows a man. Be patient with the process. Don't rush. Get some feedback, okay? And listen so we won't keep picking Mr. Wrong. Number 3. She was willing to follow. Remember, that was a big requirement. The servant even went back to Abraham and said, not that he traveled back, he just kind of came back. You know how when you're talking, you'll say, well, what if she doesn't follow? Because the strict instructions was to make sure that he says, don't take my son back there. He needed him to go back to his home, get the wife. But the instruction was, my son is not to go back there. I even believe, to me, from reading it, Abraham was so old, he wasn't sure if he would still be here. The whole thing was, even if I'm gone, make sure my son don't go back there. She would have to follow him. But if she did not follow, he was free of the vow that he had made. There's something in that. See, let me tell you something. Not everybody can lead me. And that's just the truth. Not only do I have a strong personality, but I just can't follow anything. I need to see. I need to see what I can trust. My trust is, I don't trust easily. And that's a personality thing, okay? But there are others who trust very quickly. You have to be, I need you to weigh that. As far as you have some of those that won't follow anybody, because we're being taught today as women that, you know, girl, you lead your own destiny, you do this. We are already learning that partnering up is how God has ordained it. And ladies, you're coming to my channel. We are Christian romance. That means we're wanting the relationship that's described in the Bible. So that is a point of view that I'm sticking with, and I'm not backing down from it. God created us and fashioned us to be loved, to be cared for, to be under the covering of a strong man who's what? Careful with these weaker vessels. And people say, don't call me weaker. That's not a bad place. It's saying don't handle her any kind of way, because God loved me so much that he wanted man to be respectful of that creation. So I even watch my husband, even in his strength, he's gentle with me. But I follow him because he's a man of his word. Have you been around this gentleman long enough to watch, to see, does he keep his word? Now, if he can't even come to you with any silver or gold, I already got a problem. What standards do you already have set up and established in your life? You're not even showing me something to follow. You come and get in, I know I go back to that often. You in my car, you're in my home, and you have nothing? That's backwards. And you wonder why you keep meeting Mr. Wrong. Because who you got with wasn't ready to be a man of your household, someone you can follow. But I loved how the man had already established that they were more than able to provide. He even started telling the father, the silver and gold, my master has lands. All that he has is being given to his son. He showed proof. And I was just like, and it's generational, not just for a season. And later, it was so neat how she was tested, because all of the qualifications had been met. And then her family says, won't you hang out for a little while? Why don't y'all stay here? Let's have a party. Let's celebrate. What was Rebecca's response? Please don't take my word for it. Go read it. Genesis 24. It's such wonderful reading. Rebecca doesn't wait. She says, no, I'll go. I'll go. They said, let's ask her. Because first he was like, no, he wants to go on back to his master. They said, well, ask her. So they bring her in. And she says, I will follow him. So I will tell you, right then for me, she's been bred to know, leave and cleave. Leave and cleave. That's even a little nugget for the men folk. We have to be ready, ladies, that when it's time to go and we have committed to these relationships, to our husbands, you got to let the family go. It's time to go and follow that which he's already set up. Trust him. He's already shown you signs that he knows what he's doing, right? So those are my 3 that we're going to focus on today. And I'm going to even tell you, this has happened in my own life. I remember when my daughter came to us. Now that I think about it, I think of the different relationships she had been in, one after the other. they had failed. And you had been giving you advice, but you stepped back a little, trying to give these young folk room, to be grown. So she was in college, but I remember when she came to us that last time, and she said, I've made the wrong choices over and over. Mom, Dad, I want y'all to meet this guy, and I want whatever y'all say, that's what I'm willing to do. And I'm not bragging or anything, but I am very proud of this moment. That's the man she married. And I am looking at them raise my grandbabies. And it's such a beautiful sight. I watched when that young man came into our home and sat at the table with my husband. We was throwing different questions at him. And I'm going to tell you, he did not qualify that day. Did not. We could not give our approval. He left our home with a list of things that we wanted to see from him. And I really laughed because one of the things that was brought up in that conversation was the lifestyle that my daughter already lived. She had a car, She liked to eat out. She liked to go to the spa, get her nails done. There's different things that she was already exposed to. She's exposed to traveling, vacations, things that she gets to do. That's her lifestyle. Her daddy began to say the things of the conference that he's introduced into her life. And his words to him was, can you keep this up? She's used to a certain lifestyle. Guys, that's so important. Now, see, I don't believe my daughter would have said those things. She wouldn't have challenged him that way. But her father was not afraid to challenge him in that way. And he began to let him know where you are in life right now, you can't do for my daughter. And until you can do those things, then you come back to me. I have to give it to my son-in-law. Do you think he bad talked my husband? I've never heard him bad talk my husband. I remember him coming back to him. I remember the sir and going down the list. I did this. You asked me to do it. I did this and I did this. So it's just my son won respect from me. And he is my son. I love my son-in-law. My daughter got a good one. But I'm so glad he passed the test. And he didn't waver. He didn't run away. That's the thing too, ladies. When you get a real man, when they're challenged by another man, they won't back down. That's the kind of man you want, because you saw what was going on with the ant and how they lined up with Ecclesiastes. When one fall, the other one is able to pick them up. Now, if you got an old weak something that's just as emotional as you are, when you fall, they'll be down there whining and crying too. We don't need that. We can't afford to have that nowadays. Things are too hard. See, relationships are supposed to what? Alleviate that stress. Because now we have somebody that we're able to rely on one another. That's what God planned for you. But what I need you to do, I need you to take these things, this information that I'm giving you, not just be hearers only, but doers. Begin to apply this in your relationships now. And some of you are wasting time dating some guys that don't meet up with what I just said. And I hope that I just planted a seed for you to start cutting the cord. Okay? All right. Now, as we have learned that these relationships begin to bring healing and health and alleviate stress. Now, do you understand why you read romance, ladies? If you're like me, it is the best vacation moment. I love to go on cruises with my husband. I get 2 days. He knows. Our cruises, I get 2 days to read. He goes off and he plays dominoes with our other couple friends. The men meet up and I'm in the room. He doesn't mess with me. He'll come down every night. Are you good? You want me to bring you something? And I get to read and just enjoy romance and to watch couples go through trials and conflict, but what? Bearing one another's burdens. So what does that mean? Connect with me at my website. You see it at www.joykmassenberg.com. That will lead you to links to where you can get my books, but also hear about, or even go check with me on Facebook, the Joy K. Massenberg, the author one, the Christian author. Go to that one. You will also see me putting up the recent links of people who have new releases. One of my mentors that's out there, Rachel Howe, just had a new release. Vanessa Miller Pierce just had a new release. And look, Rhonda McKnight, great reading. Guys, go to their websites and begin to look at their books and just start bringing down some of the stress and enjoy some romance. Also, connect with me if you just need to meet me for a Psalms 119 morning just to start your day and to get that nugget. That's an Instagram thing. A minute at the longest. Share it with somebody. Remember here, loving is what? Sharing. And every Thursday right here for Joyful Moments with Joy. But remember, when that fourth Thursday comes up, what is it? Potluck Thursday. Guys, make sure you're going to YouTube and watching the previous shows. There's always giveaways connected and the material and the information there. I work to make sure that information is there for you because I want you to enjoy lasting relationships. And I want you to gather that information so we can work on some personal development so that we're ready to be to them what we want them to be to us. Right? Don't accept anything. What we're going to do when your Boaz finds you, what's going to be your response? First, you're going to find proof of silver and gold. That means just proof that he has gone and taken the steps and the time and has some discipline in his life, that he has established finances and a platform in which he is able to take care of you. He's emotionally stable, he's financially stable, he's mentally stable. All right, that's just proof of those things. You're not going to rely on your own word, but even like my daughter, you're going to go back to those sources, those people who love you, who you call family, and who's looking out for you to come back and advise you wisely. Get their input. Let them meet him because you might have got all caught up in his green eyes. Oh my goodness, his thick wavy hair, or maybe bald head. I don't know. Whatever you like. But you're going to get the opinion or the wisdom, not just opinions. Hold on. Make sure. That's why I say find somebody that loves you. Find somebody who's scripture based. 2, I will tell you, wait till you can get a man to read another man. Make sure you get that along with your sister and your mama's advice and your girlfriend's advice. Okay? Then that third one, you have to follow. Your actions are, once all those things line up, you got to leave and cleave. Remember, you got to be able to pick one another up. Once you've committed, now it's all about your household first so that you'll be healthy to help somebody else, right? Just know you were fashioned for love. And I love you too. Bye, guys.